And 3, 2, 1. Welcome to The Peaceful Truth, the podcast where we talk about everything from women empowerment, feminism, and everything in between. You are joined by your host, Kenzie Meekback. Well, hello everyone. I appreciate your patience during the bit of a hiatus I've taken from the podcast for maybe a month or so. I want to apologize, but I appreciate you tuning in yet once again. The reason I signed off for a little bit is a lot of personal reasons, as well as health-related reasons. So, as you know, it's kind of a weird time and a pandemic time, and we have to be socially isolated, as well as quarantined. And that has been a weird time. Of course, like me mentally coping with that, as well as everyone mentally coping with that. Just one of the many who that's a difficult concept to understand and handle. But it's just a hard situation, so it's sad. But I also took a hiatus because like in mid-February, I was really sick with flu-like symptoms. I don't know if it was COVID-19 or not, but I did have all the symptoms, and it was like right before we realized that the outbreak was already pretty present in the community, and Washington State is kind of where the bigger part of it began, and I live in Washington State. So I might have had it, I'm not sure, but it took me out for a little bit. That compiled with like being sick the previous few months before that, I was on and off, just had random illnesses as well, like just viruses and stuff like that just kept happening to me. So it's been on and off hard to like just physically. And then I just went through like some personal related stuff and some heartbreak and needed to recover from that. And I just feel like, and COVID-19 hit at around the same time. So it's just like a lot of stuff has been going on. So I just needed a break, but I appreciate you tuning in yet again. And what a weird time to tune in again. So I guess what's happened since I last logged on is like obviously COVID-19, this terrible flu-like illness has taken the world over, and it's an international pandemic that we're dealing with, and it's a hard time to exist, and it's a weird time to exist, and it's a lonely time to exist because we all have to social isolate, be 6 feet apart when we're outside, and not see our normal people, and limit it to a limited amount of people that you're quarantined with or quarantine solo. So it's a lonely time, it's a weird time, and I think everything else is shut down, and it's just hard to mentally like process, as well as just like the devastation outside of that has occurred and that other people have to deal with now on a daily basis of the illness and being in the front line of it or having it. So with all of that in mind, I wanted to dive into today's episode, which I wanted to talk about just staying sane during this time. And I want to be honest, like for me, it hasn't been easy. I'm an extrovert and I like being outside and I like being around people and I like going out and exploring and having a schedule and being ambitious and checking off a lot of like errands and things to do and making progress professionally and in my hobbies and just like always out and about socially. And, COVID-19 happened, and that is so hard to process for anyone. Even if you're an introvert, like you have some sort of exposure and eventually you'll like feel impacted by it. And if it's not that, you're impacted also by just the crisis itself, and economically it's hard on everyone, as well as it's hard on everyone just on the front lines and dealing with the actual virus itself and either being sick or being the people helping, being an essential worker. So shout out to them. So I wanted to just talk about like how I've been processing it, and maybe it'll help other people, and maybe it'll empower other people, or maybe we can just share an experience together, and it's something to relate to, I guess. So I feel like it's completely natural to have up and down days. Like for me today, it was hard for me to like, after I took a few walks and did a few other things, it was hard for me to be productive again. I like wanted to lay back down and kind of just wallow in that. And I feel like it's completely natural to feel that way and to feel upset about the change and the entire impact of the virus. I think that's completely normal. But I feel like we have to actively choose in our heads to try to rise above that. I feel like you can allow yourself to be sad and allow yourself to process it and allow yourself to really feel what you're feeling. But once you do and you allow space for that, I think it's also important to try to feel better and try to make yourself feel better and not feel completely consumed by it. I think it's completely natural to feel what you feel and process it and let it happen to you. But I think it's also important to try to also feel better when you can and when you have space for that to feel better. So again, I have felt up and down days. I felt up days where I'm actually quarantining at my sister's house and with my brother-in-law and niece. And I've just been with them for several weeks. And that's been great. Being around people has been great. And that part, some days are really happy with all of this, but there are also days where I miss my independence and I miss my apartment and I miss my friends and going out and just normal day-to-day activities and going to work, and pursuing my passions. And then those days are down, as well as like, I just really miss people. I love exploring. I love hanging out with people. I love talking. It's tough. Definitely. But there are happy days. So there are two ways I'm looking at this time of quarantine. I don't know about you, but in the state of Washington, we got it extended to currently the end of May. It's a growing situation. It could be extended further than that, or the beginning of May. I'm sorry, not the end of May. It got extended to the beginning of May to be quarantined inside. And, so we still have another month in this. So I'm trying to look at the situation in two ways. Either be productive when I'm like feeling like that space is open for me to be productive inside and mentally, like I'm ready to be productive, or I look at it as a time of recharging. And I kind of want to go into both of those things. Again, I'm not perfect at this. This is just like what I've been thinking, and I just felt like sharing it because maybe it'll help someone's perspective, or maybe just me venting about the experience will make someone feel less alone. So productive. I know a lot of people have been like saying on Instagram and social media and different online videos, like, here are the ways that you can be productive, and I want you to set out this schedule for yourself and that sort of a thing. But my productive is like more when you have the open space for it and you have room for it and you're feeling like this is the time where your mind's more open to being productive. So sometimes that can also just pull you out of a bad mood if you feel like the mood is progressing too much. But I feel like I've been working on researching different ways to progress my career and continuing education, as well as planning steps to take action once the quarantine settles down. Like outside of my 9 to 5, I like to also advance certain parts of my production career by getting involved in outside things and outside projects. And I'm excited to take those steps and take that action when the quarantine is settled down a little bit more, because unfortunately my industry outside of my 9 to 5, because my 9 to 5, luckily the company is pretty stable, but other productions have kind of been halted because you have to interact with people and be on set and that sort of a thing. But I also think it's important to enjoy and deep dive into your hobbies, or try even new things that you've never done before. Like, so many people right now are offering online classes. If you just Google it, there's like art online classes, cooking online classes, workout inside online classes. And so what I recently did is, there is this really awesome Instagrammer, and I'll put her name in the bio, but I've been taking her online Instagram stories that she goes live, and they're like hour-long paint classes, and I've made a few paintings in the past few weeks, and that has been such a blast. And a skill that I've always wanted to just try and work on. And sometimes I am in the mood to do it, but I've never had enough time to fully dive in, I feel like, or I never made that time for myself. And it's been really nice to just paint and allow that space for creativity and create a new hobby. But I've also been doing my old hobbies, like making fun little internet videos like TikToks, which is kind of in the production space of my heart, as well as write this episode of the podcast and set up and film for it. I've also been working out. There's a bunch of, again, like at-home workouts that you can do. I've been doing Sweat with Kayla Einsteins, and it's this app where it's like at-home workouts that you can do in the comfort of your own home. And I'm on like week 4 of those workouts. So that's another thing where you can be productive. So taking on new hobbies, there's online free classes again, and that sort of a thing. Again, I think it's important to continue working out because working out always produces like those endorphins. I'm not saying every single day or a hardcore workout, just something to get you active and off a screen. I feel like when I am sad during this quarantine time, which I openly am, and it's not perfect, is that I find myself looking at my screen all day, my phone or a laptop or Netflix, and just being dragged into that 24/7 can be a lot because usually you're driving in between, you're talking with people, you're going out, you're having lunch, you're walking. And so usually you're not looking at a screen as often as we can right now. So again, working out in some way, finding at-home workouts. A lot of people have made modifications to just like anything in your house using as workout equipment and challenges and that sort of a thing. So you can work out still, even though the gyms are closed. You can, even if you do half of the workout, even if you do 5 minutes, at least you got up, at least you did something. That's progress. Well, let's see. But this, by the way, the sweat workouts that I do at home, if you look up that app that it's on, it does cost money. But I was doing it before the quarantine started, but it was an at-home workout program. Let's see. I do know actually a lot of yoga instructors, which would be awesome to look into right now, that are doing a bunch of free online videos. And that is so fun because one is, for me, I feel like yoga is kind of spiritual and meditative. So to dive in and to do those exercises and those different flows are peaceful, and it might be the perfect time to get into yoga, especially since a lot of people are offering free online home tools. Organizing and cleaning your space. I did that right before I decided to officially quarantine and really be locked down in my sister's house. I was hardcore deep cleaning my apartment while I was social isolating, so I could be with my sister after completed social isolation. So I was cleaning and reorganizing my apartment during that time. Beyond being productive, and you don't, again, have to be productive the whole time. It's okay to relax and kind of take a step back, or to just feel sad during this time, because it is a sad time. But there's a different way I'm also looking at it besides being productive. I'm looking at it as a time of recharging. Again, I've seen a lot of people suggest similar to the things I've suggested of being productive, like doing the things I just listed out. A lot of people are suggesting that right now. But I think it's a time to get back to the basics and recharge. And I'm not saying like let yourself go completely. I'm just like, let yourself slow down and be at peace and take day by day slower and enjoy every bite of your meal, or enjoy just sitting, enjoy talking on the phone to someone, enjoy FaceTiming with someone, or just sitting there and being with your own thoughts and recharging and letting yourself and your life slow a little bit. I feel like we're always in the hustle and bustle of everything, and everyone's dragged into that. So maybe now is a good time to recharge mentally and allow yourself to recharge mentally. And I think something that I took for granted before this quarantine is being able to be productive and work on my goals outside of just the home. I feel, and I feel like it's a privilege now to be able to have a dream professionally and to be able to just have dreams in general. I think that is a privilege to even have, because now everyone is being, in the modern world, is being forced to go back to basics. And I feel, or more back to basics. And I feel like by being forced to look in that direction, I've realized how much of a privilege I had even to love these things and admire these things and to pursue these passions. So I'm doing that in my downtime, yes, but I'm also taking it as a time to appreciate the basics of a life and look at them and their beauty of them and recharging. I think it's fine to allow yourself to enjoy the world around you and just relax at a slow down pace, even if that is in quarantine. And I think it's also important just to remotely connect with others and really embrace that time and to know that you're not alone. So many people are experiencing this feeling of isolation and this feeling of sadness without other people, and the sadness of the impact of the economy and the virus itself. A lot of people are feeling that, and you're not alone. So I'm sure if you reached out to someone you knew and called them or FaceTimed them or texted them, a lot of people are feeling alone. So I feel like you could really commiserate with a lot of people and just pick up the phone and you'll feel a lot better, or at least I do. Crack open a beer with a friend over FaceTime, anything. So the whole world is shut down, and it might not be shut down for a long time ever again. So I feel like it's a time to slow down and be more open to that concept. But yeah, I just wanted to try to say that it's okay to feel low. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to live in those feelings and feel those things. But I also think it's important to try to be positive when you can and when there's space to be positive at the same time. And I think you can do that by being productive still from the comfort of your own home, or looking at it as a way of recharging. You're not being lazy. You're being asked to do these things and to sit at home, and it's okay. Because you're protecting everyone while doing that, even though it does feel like you're not doing much. So I wanted to say that you're not alone. I'm feeling a lot of the up and down feelings as well. And I think a lot of other people are too. So I just wanted to say hi and to restart the podcast. And I appreciate everyone else for tuning in again. If you are listening and allowing me to take a step back and recharge for the past few weeks, because again, I needed to calm down and rest. So I appreciate everyone tuning in. I look forward to future episodes and to deep diving into empowerment topics. I appreciate it once again, and I will see you guys soon.